There's also something from the county here about bins, salt bins, as to whether they need replenishing. So I don't know whether anybody wants to have a look inside the salt bins.
I'll have a look at the one, top of Hill Lane, isn't there, and one by the church.
By the church there's one.
Are there the only two?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have a look at those.
And there's also a request here for somebody who wants to have a memorial bench installed at the top of the knoll.
Will that be National Trust? It's nothing to do with us.
So that's what I thought, and so I think what I'll probably just do
In memory of who?
send it to, sorry?
In memory of who?
Granddad.
Who?
Granddad.
Oh, right.
This person's granddad.
Yeah. Who was it?
Thomas Burge. Thomas Burge.
Oh, with that, yes, you know, him behind me.
Okay.
Would our response be that the knoll is not within, but certainly the park here, which is frequented by residents, that could take another bench?
It might,
I think the only thing was it's sort of because that was their favourite
Spot.
why they wanted
Yeah.
it. But yeah, we can always make
It's
it.
National
On the
Trust.
grounds that they're not going to get it up there, are they? Because it's a National Trust property.
I'll pass that on back to them, saying, look, you know, I need to find out a contact for them, because I think it would be helpful if I went back with a contact to National Trust, because they're a strange organisation. There's an awful lot of people, and you never quite know who you're talking to. So I'll try and find out the right person, and then give the details of that person to Mr. Burge. Do you think that's probably the way forward?
Yeah.
There's also one other item that's not on here. George came in the surgery this afternoon. Brent Knoll Parish Council meeting 3rd November. I'd like to make a personal thank you for supporting the Edward Science Project by means of a letter of support. It was much appreciated. Following its receipt, Friends of St Michael's Church replied to Viridor for a grant, and the outcome which is awaited. So just thanking the council really for supporting the work, or the support we're giving for the chest room.
Bus back better rec.
Bus back red, yes, they keep writing to me actually. Bus back red are saying they want to have reps in as many villages as possible to feed back to them on really the progress, I guess, is what they're saying. They want to know what the progress of the bus, the new bus service is. So what they're actually asking for is reps from as many villages and locations as possible, so they can get together on a Zoom call perhaps. They've just
carried out a couple of those Zoom calls, haven't they?
yeah, they have. There's been a couple there actually. It's a question whether anybody from this council would like to be part of that bus rep scheme.
Is anybody on the council going to be using the bus service that's now newly appointed?
I might do in a few
Yes,
years'
I
time.
know.
No, I can't drive.
Because that would seem logical if the councillor, in my mind, who's using it is our rep, because that's a good use of
I
feedback.
intend to use it to go to ship and see the daughter. And, I mean, I'll be quite happy to let my name go forward.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's very onerous. I think it's just a question of
of
feeding back, really.
Yeah.
You might have some issues to feed back to them that they can use as part of their development forward project.
I don't want to step on anybody else's toes, right? Don't all rush.
Let's hope the bus service is that busy.
Shop.
Yes. Did you want
Yeah, we had a meeting 2 nights ago now with the shop committee. It is fair to say it was in good nature. I think everybody looking at it is got to be impressed with what they've done with the facility in such a short space of time. Their comment financially was that they are earning the same sort of funds, but they are seeing an increase in new faces using the shop. So that's got to be good. They've also got a planned policy to upgrade some of the proposition in the shop using more local produce, and it all sounded from the management team fairly positive. I think from a council perspective, we highlighted with them that and we're now getting very close to having to fill in the paperwork for this loan, and we will be at a point fairly soon, as in the next meeting, to be taking some form of vote on where to go with this loan. So we've pressed upon them the urgency of their business case for councillors to see what they're proposing, which I think they took away seriously. They have got an accountant that is going to increase some numbers in, but I think they were left with little illusion that the council needs to have a good representation from them at the point of decision making, so that councillors are happy with taking out the loan.
Is the number of helpers static or is it increasing?
No, they've got 22 helpers. They were giving us an example of, I think it was Lyncham, wasn't it, Robert, where they had 89, of which they said probably 50% of those were non-active helpers. So their target was to get to 40-ish helpers, which they believe then gives them all day, every day. But they've extended Saturday all-day opening and Sunday morning. So their helper situation seems to be increasing, and they had two about to join them that were retiring at the end of this month and joining as of the beginning of next month.
Any questions of Andy? Okay, Owen, you wanted to say?
Yeah, we need a new minute, as I explained a while ago, for the shop approval, loan approval. I'm just going to read it out to you, make sure that you're happy with it. The Brent Knoll Parish Council meeting the 3rd of November was resolved to seek the approval of the Secretary of State Housing Communities Local Government to apply for a PWLB loan of £80,000 over a borrowing term of 25 years for the purpose of building a community shop premises and a replacement toilet facility. The annual loan repayments will come to around £4,329 at the current rate of 2.35%. It is also intended to increase the council tax precept for the purposes of the loan repayments by 12%, which is the equivalent of £10.38 per annum for a Band D property. This was subject to a precept increase consultation, which was a survey that we did. So that's the minute that they are, in fact, they suggested that minute themselves in their own paperwork, because they were trying to help us to get the right balance. So what we need what I need from you is approval for that minute, which is a replacement minute for the one that we did back in September for the original loan applications, that replaces that effectively.
I would like to propose that we accept that proposal and move to a vote.
Is that unanimous?
That's unanimous. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Is that shop done, is it?
Yeah, there's a few bits and pieces. I think it covers most things. We've got the budget approval. The planning process, well, you mentioned that, so that's okay.
Andy?
Just for sake of clarity, we refer to it as a shop project, but surely from a council perspective, it's an improvement on the current toilet facilities from our perspective. Maybe we don't mention that enough.
Maybe it's a building project rather than a shop project.
Even so, I think if we keep its emotive on the shop, and it might not necessarily be the shop at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Fletcher.
I think that will be a carryover from the last meeting.
We're going to be carrying over to another meeting as well.
No, we'll get there. Eileen Fletcher, I don't know about that. But
That's the one to do with Tony Hill's. You remember the list?
oh yeah, yeah.
And we said we'd have a look at each of the individual items
Yeah.
to see whether.
Yeah, I
with
said
all
I'd do
those.
that, but I haven't done it. I'm sorry.
So that's a
Okay,
deferral.
that's
one.
fine. Okay.
Land
Land,
off
the car park.
Council. This one is progressing on the legal side of things. Charles Fleming has got all the paperwork now for this transfer. So really, from that side of it, it's moving in the right direction. And I think Colin's got a quotation from.
Yeah, I mean, I just shudder that it's more money out and probably coming away from, well, it's certainly not in our budget, but I think the quote was about 4,000
Yeah.
including VAT, was it? But I have to get another one. to put the car park right, make it usable.
Are there any loans we can,
Ah.
grants, I mean?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that, but it's a good point.
Mm.
Whether it would qualify for a
Mm.
very door loan, I wouldn't think so, but
The sewer money would, some of the sewer money, a small amount of it would qualify, wouldn't it, because it's a community project. But, yeah.
Could it be something we turn up the local trust for as well? Because it's benefiting the community, isn't it?
yeah, probably a bit more this year, please.
Mm.
Okay, Jubilee. Should we have a sort of group of people that are? Yes,
Well,
John. Sorry.
Hi. There was a British Legion meeting last night, and it was agreed that the chairman of the British Legion is going to contact you, so be forewarned, because he believes, and I quite agree with him, that it should be a village effort, that we do the celebrations as a village, and there should be a subcommittee formed. I know that is what he's going to say.
Okay. Who is the current chairman?
Steve Russell.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
At the last meeting, I think you and I volunteered to go to East Brent, didn't we? In November, to a
Yeah,
meeting to discuss the Jubilee celebration.
Have they had that meeting yet?
I don't know.
I thought that
Yeah,
was
it's
going
about-
now.
It was about
They had it,
November, I think.
Have you had it? Have you had
I
the
honestly don't know, Jim.
Okay. All right.
Certainly it has been discussed in the village, but whether there's any formal proposals been brought up.
It was said again,
Idea.
actually, that it's always extremely disappointing. We all know it around the table, but there is this difficulty in agreeing anything with East Brent, with Brent Knoll, both ways.
Okay.
Well,
because
we
it
can try.
Russell.
We can try.
Really.
Mm.
Okay, that's going to be an ongoing agenda item, I suspect, over the next few months.
Yeah. Election.
We've done that. because
We
probably
don't
on
know.
Parliament
Invitation
update.
small grants.
Yeah, invitation for small grants. It's this time of the year when we put an article in the BKN asking for small groups if they would like to apply to the council for a small grant for their operation. And we do have a grant awarding policy now, of course, which I'm sure everybody's read in fine detail, which I sent out. It just underlines what our policy is of awarding grants, who we do it for, and when we're likely to grant them. So, but are you, in the first instance, are you happy for me to put the article in the BKN, which is asking for people to come forward?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we're ready for the end of the year.
Meeting dates.
Meeting dates. I sent you a list of the new meeting dates. They've all been booked with the parish hall, and the surgery dates, all the new surgery dates for 2022. Just need an approval that you're happy with the dates as listed. And also moving on from that, straight on to that, November surgery is going to be at 10 a.m. to 12 noon on the 30th of November. So it'll be the first one of the morning sessions. Who would like to come to it? Because we don't have a rota for that now, so we just need to agree each meeting who's going to come to the next surgery. So who would like to come to the morning surgery?
George comes, Andy.
And there will be tea and coffee available as well.
It is St Andrews.
It doesn't have to be one or two. There's no number. Just
What's the date again?
council representation.
30th.
30th of
And what time? sir?
10 a.m. to midday.
Yeah.
So yeah, just so there's somebody there each time.
Yeah.
Be short breath biscuits, because it is St Andrews.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And some of us.
So I'll put them down for
My
you.
friend was
Right?
going to buy us a Scottish flag.
I'll put them against your name.
Bring your tartan.
Okay.
And then finally, we've got the post box relocation from the shop. We need to decide on an alternative site for the post box that's currently in the wall of Caroline's shop, because the new owner's not keen for it to remain there forever.
Maybe if it's supporting the wall.
They're happy to leave it there. They're not looking to rush to get it moved, but they would like some progress in getting it moved.
Stuart Slocum's wall.
The logical thing I would have thought is to build it in potentially with the building when that gets constructed. So
I was going to say, does it depend on where we get with the
Yeah.
building?
I've got to contact the post office now, and I've said to him I'll go back with a recommend. They're happy to put it wherever we want it. No problem, there's no
So
limitations.
could we recommend that there will be a building project in the new year,
Yeah.
and we propose it's there and just leave it at that?
Okay. If you're happy with me to do that, I'll go back to him.
Yes,
Shut up.
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Owen. Wow. We got there. Matters of report, next meeting. Andy? John? Cynthia?
I did have somebody told me about the parking opposite the Methodist Chapel, all along that, the opposite, on the other side of the road, and it's almost run into the bend. Obviously, people can't see.
We've had that for surgery today.
Oh, did you? All right, so you know now.
Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Brian?
Yeah, a few things. This time of year I should get a load of daffodils.
correct.
They were late last time and I put them in myself. I need some help now. They
Where
ought
have
to
you got
come now, really.
Yes,
Because this is the time to put
we're
them
going to
in.
pick them up this week.
I'll give you a hand.
Well done, thank you.
Yeah.
And 34 years ago, since that time there have been 300 more people coming to live in Brent Knoll, believe it or not, since 1981 I think. I produced this in my first year or so of parish council, which is a leaflet about it, Welcome to Brent Knoll. I wondered if we could update it, and perhaps produce it on a stiffer piece of card, for instance, and get better photographs. And if that could be just, it wouldn't cost much, shouldn't it? Get some printed to everybody in the village. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're one of the 300.
Yeah, that must be, yeah.
It's what is more or less on the notice board,
I'll have a look, yeah.
and that needs a bit of repair.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Yeah, the notice board needs some repair, the edge of it.
Yes.
David? Bob?
Just one thing, I dropped a note to Owen about the notice board and Bakersfield. Obviously with the shop closing, there's a notice board that currently is at the village shop. There's no point in moving that down to the new shop area because there's already one at the hall. We used to have a notice board on what was Mike Simmons' shop on Brent Corner. Since that went, there's been no notice board down that end of the village at all. And so the people at Bakersfield have said they would be happy for us to move the notice board down to their site. We'd obviously have to agree with them where to put it. But just wanted to ask if that was something that we do want to do. And it would probably need to be refurbed, I guess, by Paul Dixon just to make sure it was ready for weathering. But at least it would mean that end of the village feels more part of things rather than it being isolated.
Sorry, I hadn't finished. I've got a couple more short things. Did you have any luck with those dog signs in Dorset I mentioned last time?
No, I tried to get hold of the clerk actually.
Yeah.
She didn't seem to know anything about them actually, so she did say she was going to come back to me, let me know
Yeah.
who did organise them. She hasn't come back to me, so I'll need to follow up again.
Right. And the other thing, earlier we were talking about problems of flooding and about the machine that we've got and when was it last service. I'll go and see Andrew Warren and see if he can tell me when it was last done and perhaps do it again. Right?
Yeah, the back of the store where it is pretty crammed.
Yeah.
And it'd be difficult to get out, but yeah, I think it
ought to come out.
Yeah, it ought to. Yeah,
I was thinking.
yeah. I introduced Andy to the store, and yeah, it was.
They'll have to go on holiday somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Shall we enjoy that?
One last thing, Andrew, you sat there exceedingly patient, and thanks ever so much for coming tonight to
It's a
support
pleasure.
us.
I will say it's a pleasure.
Is there anything you'd like to
There are a couple of things I
mention?
wanted to bring up, because Brian certainly just the last moment to mention flooding. And this is more for general information more than a district council issue, but wearing a different hat on the drainage board. We had a meeting with Bristol Water not so very long ago and the Environment Agency regarding the Bleeding Sluice.
Okay.
Now this may not have much impact in this part of the country, but at the same time you're only 1.5 metres from sea level in this village. But Bristol Water have decided in their own wisdom, it being their structure, they're going to decommission it and not replace it. This is the latest information. It may not be public knowledge just yet, but nevertheless that's the outcome.
How will that affect us?
Because they will then use the Brian Cross sluice gate to control the water levels. That's what the Bristol Water, or the Bleeding Sluice was all about. It's to allow them to abstract water to fill Cheddar Reservoir. That was when it was first built in 1919, I think it was. And it's become redundant and been irreparable, and Bristol have chosen to ignore it altogether. But that's just one point I wanted to mention tonight, and I'll try not to delay it any further, but it was a delight to come to the opening of Bakersfield site, I thought. It was a first-class demonstration of cooperative work between Sedgmore and the housing delivery team, and I think they should all be congratulated on the quality of finish and product that they've produced there. And it's a pleasure to be involved in that one, because I was there at the turf cutting as well as Malcolm and Bob were.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks very much for coming. We appreciate your help.
I'm sorry I've not been a regular visitor.
Yeah. And there's nothing else from me, so see you next month. Thank you very much.
Simon.